Welcome to Microbiology. In this video, I'm going to discuss the course Blackboard shell and how to navigate through this course. So to begin, the Announcements tab is going to post current announcements in the course. The first announcement is an announcement that helps you get started with the course. Under the Syllabus tab, you're going to find the current syllabus for the course. Now this is not going to be the exact same syllabus necessarily for your section. This is just a generalized welcome video, but what you're going to see is the exact same stuff, just possibly a different course name here. So when you go to the Syllabus tab, you're going to click on this blue link, and then you'll download the course syllabus. The course syllabus has detailed directions, due dates, and information about the course structure, format, and all that type of stuff. So it's really important that you download the syllabus and read through it. It will list my office hours in there, the way to contact me, and then the most important part is in the center of the syllabus where we have the course schedule. You want to make sure to read through that course schedule and make note of every due date, and make sure that you get assignments in by those due dates. Under the Textbook Information tab is where you're going to find information for the textbooks that are required for this course. So for this course, you're going to have to purchase the Microbiology textbook with the Connect access code. So as of right now, it's the 6th edition. If it increases an edition, you're going to see that new edition listed in your Blackboard site. But the Microbiology textbook has this online access code that gives you access to the textbook virtually, as well as all of our virtual labs. Since this is an online section of microbiology, all of our labs are going to be completed entirely online through this Mcgraw-Hill. So you have to make sure that you purchase the textbook with the Connect access so that you can complete all of those lab activities virtually. There's a couple different options for purchasing that are listed here. You can purchase through the bookstore. When you purchase it through the bookstore, you can either purchase the hard copy of the textbook with the Connect access card, or you can purchase just the Connect access card, which gives you the digital version of the textbook with all of the virtual labs. Either way, you're going to get this card that has a scratch off on it. You're going to scratch off the location where you can scratch it off, and then you're going to see the code underneath that scratch off. When you get your code, to activate your Mcgraw-Hill, you're going to go to Learning Modules, and then you're going to click on Learning Module 1. And then you're going to click on the first lab, so Lab 1 Virtual Lab Tutorial. When you click on this, it's going to take you to a registration page. On that registration page, there's 3 different options. The first option will be to just enter in the code that you purchased at the bookstore. So if you purchased it at the bookstore and you have it in your hand and you scratched it off, then you can just enter the code in there. It will ask you to register for your account. You should register for the account using the exact same information that you use to register for your Gateway course. That way, the name that you provide and email will match what's in Blackboard, so it makes grading a little bit more easy. The other option is to purchase directly through Mcgraw-Hill. So again, by clicking this link to the first lab, next to where you would enter your code, there's an option to just purchase it through Mcgraw-Hill. If you purchase through Mcgraw-Hill, it's a little bit cheaper and it gives you immediate access. So you don't have to wait for a physical access code to be mailed to you, or you don't have to go into campus to pick up this access code. It's just available right away. The other option is temporary access. So if you're having a hard time finding the money to pay for this and you need a little bit of an extension to get some money together, then you can purchase or register for temporary access. Temporary access gives you about 14 days free access so that you can get started with the course, but then after that 14 days, you will have to pay for a subscription. So a couple different options there. However you want to purchase it is up to you. Purchasing through the bookstore allows you to use your financial aid money. Otherwise, if you have cash on hand, you can just purchase it directly through Mcgraw-Hill. And if you need the temporary access option, you can do that just for the first couple weeks of class. And then eventually you will have to purchase a real access code. Instructor Information just provides additional information about me, so you can read my teaching philosophy, a little bit about my educational background, me personally and professionally. And then we're going to go through the learning modules. So there's some directions. It says to click on each module to complete the assignments by their due date. Due dates can be found in the course syllabus. The pre-work modules should be completed before the course begins. There's a reminder here that all assignments that are due for this course are in red and have the word graded in them. And then we have this folder of supplemental items. Supplemental items include like playlists and YouTube videos and additional links and resources that help students understand the course content a little bit better. Nothing in this folder is required. Nothing's due in this folder. You don't even have to open it if you don't want to, but some students need additional information, and this is a really good place to find it. So it really supplements the course content and gives you other perspectives on the course content. So if you want to look through those videos, sometimes people find them helpful. So pre-work module is due before the course start date. So you want to review the course start date and get this done before the course starts. What's assigned for pre-work? There's some background information, and then it tells you to read the syllabus and textbook information and to purchase access to the Mcgraw-Hill. Some students wait until the course begins to actually purchase their books, and that's really bad. So usually, especially through the bookstore, there could be some delays, and you want to make sure you purchase your books early. So get those books purchased and make sure you have the Connect access already started up by the time the first day of class begins. Then you're going to be watching this welcome video, so the welcome video will be posted under here once it's available. And then it tells you to click through the Training for Online Science course PowerPoint and take the accompanying quiz. So some students have never taken an online science course before. So just to kind of orient you to how to be successful in an online science course, there's this little training. The training quiz is unlimited attempts, unlimited time, so you should be able to get 100% on that, no problem. And like I said, unlimited attempts, it allows you to keep retaking it until you get the perfect score. The next part is the laboratory safety training. So in the laboratory safety training, even though this is an online course, we still have to complete a laboratory safety training in order to meet that course competency. So lab safety is one of the required course competencies, so we have to make sure that we cover it. The lab safety training is going to walk through some typical safety considerations in a microbiology lab, and then it has the accompanying lab safety training quiz. The quiz, again, is unlimited attempts, unlimited time, and it asks you to acknowledge the receipt of the safety training. This remains on file for 3 years, just so we have that documented that you completed a microbiology lab safety training. Going back to the learning modules are structured in a very similar way. So if we look at learning module 1, it starts with a patient scenario. And then it tells you some directions here. So you'll see there's lecture assignments, lab assignments, and then tests. For the lecture assignments, the first thing you're going to want to do is download this study guide. The study guide is what you should focus on as you're either reading the book, watching the lecture videos, or both. A lot of students like to print out the study guide and have it next to them as they are listening to the lectures or reading the textbooks, so they know exactly what to focus on as they're going through the content. If you're more of a reading and writing learner, you're probably going to like this option to just read the book. So it tells you what sections in the textbook to read, and then there's an optional reading assignment. This reading assignment is a guided reading that's provided through Mcgraw-Hill. So when you click on it, it's going to take you to the Connect website, and then it'll give you like a paragraph to read and ask you multiple choice questions about it. Another section to read and ask you more questions and so forth. This is optional. It's not going to be graded for this course, and some students like it because it actually tests their knowledge and tests their understanding as they go through the book. Other people, it's not really for them. So it's never graded, never due. You're not going to get extra credit points or anything for doing it. But some students like the additional guidance in studying the course content this way. So it's there for you. If you do complete it, you're going to see that it's graded in the grade book, but it says 0 out of 0 points. So it's not ever going to be worth any points. If you don't complete it, it's not going to negatively impact your grade at all. Then we have option B for auditory visual learners. So this is going to be my voiceover PowerPoints. You'll see that there's two parts, Module 1 Part 1 and Module 1 Part 2. If you are enrolled in the standard 14 to 15 week semester course, then you would have 2 weeks to complete one module. So you would ideally get through the first part in the first week of the module and the second part in the second week of the module. If you're enrolled in one of the condensed 7 to 8 week courses, then you're going to have to get through all of the lecture content within 1 week. So it's all identical. It's just you have to do it in half the time. So you have to get through the course content in 1 week. How this is structured is you can download my PowerPoint slides, and then these are the slides that I actually talk over as I go through my lecture videos. The lecture videos are all in order, so you should watch them in this order. You can see that there's A, B, C, D, and then there's part 2, A, B, C, D, and then there's an E, and then there's a supplementary video here at the end that will help you learn a little bit more about cell structure. Once you have filled out the study guide, there's a Quizlet. The Quizlet is, those are virtual flashcards. So basically what we did is took all of the terms from the study guide and turned them into flashcards with definitions. If you click on this Quizlet link, it's going to take you to Quizlet. And if you have an account already, you can just log in. If you don't have a Quizlet account, you can create one. You can just register free for a free Quizlet account. And when you have Quizlet, it allows you to take take quizzes out of those terms. You can study the flashcards from the definition side, from the term side, and really work to learn the course content using Quizlet. The Quizlet flashcards are great because you know the correct definition is there because we put them together based on the definitions that are presented in this course. A lot of students think that they don't have to memorize anything because it's an online course, and that's really not true. All of your tests are timed, so it's really important that you actually memorize all of the terms and learn them so that when it comes time to taking the test, you can do well on the test. Additionally, the final exam is cumulative. It covers everything that's been presented in the course so far. So in order to be successful on the final, you really need to study the material and not cheat yourself out of a good education throughout the course. So these Quizlet flashcards are one memorization tool. There's a lot of other ways to memorize the course content, but it is really important that you memorize this stuff and learn it. Your future programs, if you're transferring into another institution, they're all going to assume that you have this knowledge and that you know a little bit about, the stuff that you're learning in this course. So don't cheat yourself out of a good education. Really study this stuff now so that you can be successful in the future. Then we see the lab assignments. So there's lab technique videos that are provided. Lab technique videos show me doing the actual lab techniques in the lab. So I have a camera and you see my hands and I'm moving the equipment and I'm describing different things in the laboratory. Me going through those videos gives you some clues as to what's going to be on the lab test here. So watching those videos helps you be successful in all of the virtual labs. It helps you actually see a real lab and how things are actually performed in a real lab, and then it helps you do better on the lab test. Sometimes it's not me, so there's some really good videos on YouTube that are out there, and those have been supplemented in there as well, but those are just how to actually perform the techniques in a laboratory. And then we've got the Mcgraw-Hill Labs. So when you click on the Mcgraw-Hill Lab, it'll take you to Mcgraw-Hill Connect, and then you'll see on the screen it will actually be like a lab bench, and you'll be clicking and manipulating laboratory equipment on the screen, and then it'll ask you questions, and you won't be able to go forward until you've completed all of the steps that you have to, and it'll ask you why you completed certain steps, and then it won't let you continue unless you've got everything kind of correct. So if there's something wrong, it'll flag it and say, hey, you did something wrong or you answered a question wrong, and it'll give you an opportunity to correct it and think about it before you move on and submit it. So it really does help students learn a lot and make sure that you're being successful in the laboratory. And then we have the module tests. And actually, before I go on to the module tests, I want to talk a little bit more about an alternate lab activity that you might encounter in this course. So in addition to the Mcgraw-Hill Labs, there are several labs that require you to complete a Word document. So if we look at Module 2, these are your typical Mcgraw-Hill Labs, and then you see this lab. So what this is, you're going to click on the blue link, and then a Word document will be presented to you. And that Word document, you're going to read through the directions. It may ask you to go to a different website, so there would be a link in there to a different website. And then you're going to click through that website and answer the questions in this Word document. You're going to type your answers directly into the boxes provided on the Word document. Then you're going to save the completed Word document to your computer. And then to submit it, you're going to click on this red link here. And when you click on that, you're going to browse your computer for the completed laboratory document, and then you can press submit to upload it. When we talk about the module tests, each module test or each module is going to have a lecture and lab test. I think module 7 does not have a lab test, but for the most part, they all have a lecture and lab test. For the lecture test content comes directly from the study guide. The lab test comes from the labs and the lecture or the lab technique videos that I've put together. It tells you exactly how many questions, how many points, how long you have to take it. You're allowed 2 attempts, and your best attempt counts for all of the module tests, and then the finals you're only allowed 1 attempt for. But it tells you all the information that you need to know so that you can prepare for those tests. So every module is going to be set up in an identical way until we get to the last module, which is the final exam. So for the final lecture exam, you have to use Respondus Monitor. Respondus Monitor is a video kind of proctoring exam. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to download the Lockdown browser to your computer, and there's some information about it here. There's a video about it, and then this is the actual link to download the Respondus Lockdown browser. This is a special browser, just like how Google Chrome is a browser and Firefox is a browser. This is a different browser that's going to be on your computer. In order to access the lecture exam, you're going to go through Blackboard through this browser. So you open up the browser, go to Blackboard using that browser, and then you can finally access the exam. So when you access the exam, you're going to click on it, and it's going to ask you to do a few things. It's going to ask you to take a picture of yourself, so you'll have to have a webcam so that you can do that. Then it's going to ask you to take a picture of your ID. So government issued or student ID with your picture shown on it would be acceptable forms of ID. You're going to hold that up to the camera and click on it. That just makes sure that the person who is taking the final exam is the person who registered for the course. So it's just, that's like the whole purpose of it. The next thing it's going to do is ask you to show a video of your surroundings. So you're going to have to hold up your webcam, or if you're taking on a laptop, you're going to have to hold up the laptop webcam, and you're going to have to show a video of your surroundings. The purpose of that is to make sure that no one else is in the room with you while you're taking the exam. So you should be taking this independently. There shouldn't be anyone else around you while you're taking the exam. For this course, I don't care if you're using your notes or not, so I'm not going to try to make sure that you don't have anything out on your desk or anything like that. You can definitely use your notes while you're taking the exam, just like you've used your notes on every other test. But really, you should not be working with anyone else on this test, and you should be the person that's completing the test. The camera will be on you the entire time you're taking the test, and you need to stay in the field of the camera at all times. It's also going to be recording sound, so you won't be able to talk to anybody else while you're taking the exam. But like I said, you can definitely use notes. Respondus Lockdown browser will prevent you from navigating to other websites, so you won't be able to go Google an answer. You'll actually have to have studied and take the exam and all you really have as a resource is your notes, potentially. But that's how Respondus Lockdown works, and that is just for the lecture exam. You do not have to use the Lockdown browser for the final lab practical. So to do the lecture exam, you have to go through that Lockdown browser. To do the final lab practical, you can just take it here. So going through some of the other tabs here, email is the best way to contact me, and emailing through Blackboard is even better. When you email through Blackboard, it automatically brings with your section number. And since I typically teach multiple sections in multiple formats all over the place, it helps me answer your question a lot faster if I know your section number. If you don't want to use the Blackboard function in order to email me, please include your section number so that I can answer your question a lot faster. You may get a reply from me that asks you for your section number if I don't have it, and if you had a question for me. That allows me to know exactly what section you're in and answer your question appropriately. The email function allows you to email other people in your class as well. So you can email all student users. You can email all instructor users, which would just be me. You can email single or select users. So you can choose certain people to email from your class. If you want to reach out and try to form study groups or talk to anyone else in your class, this is how you can do it. The virtual meeting room is going to be a link to a Zoom room. So since this is an online course, we do and it's asynchronous, we do not have regularly scheduled weekly meetings. But if you ever need to meet with me, then you'll click on this link to join Zoom. There is one mandatory meeting that you have to do with me, and that's the week 1 orientation meeting. There's multiple options for joining that meeting, so you can join one of the sessions that is available. But you have to attend that meeting to prevent yourself from being dropped from the course. And to attend, you're going to read the information, which is found in the bottom of the pre-work tab, and then you're going to attend by clicking on this link to join the meeting. There are 2 options for joining. There's a daytime session and a nighttime session, so that way it can help work around different work schedules. And the purpose of that meeting is just to make sure that 1, you can access Blackboard, 2, you can access Zoom and talk to me, because if you can't do those 2 things, then you probably won't be successful in an online course like this. So you have to kind of demonstrate that you can do those 2 things, and we do that by having that orientation meeting in week 1. My office hours are going to be listed here. And then in addition to that, if you have to meet with me outside of my office hours, you can always just email me and schedule an appointment. But no matter what time or when we meet, it's always going to be through this Zoom link. Discussion board is optional. I'm not going to ever grade anything from the discussion board, so that's optional for you to post questions if you want. You can talk to each other in there. I won't be looking at it, so if you post a question, I will not be answering it unless I know that the question's there and you email me and say, hey, I posted a question here. But that's completely optional for you. Nothing is graded out of there. My Grades gives you your current grade in the course. Typically, everything in this course is due on a Sunday, so all assignments are due on Sundays. So then Mondays are my big grading days, so I'll be updating the gradebook on Mondays. So at any given time, you can always log into the gradebook. Your most current grade will be Monday evening. Student Resources gives you a whole bunch of extra resources, like the explanation of a weighted total grade. So I go through how this is calculated, really, and a lot of students don't understand the difference between total points and weighted totals, so I explain it in this video. Then there's some links to how to access virtual tutoring, how to join Zoom on a computer or smart device, how to email through Blackboard, how to submit an assignment, how to post to a discussion forum. There's student services, campus resources, free Microsoft Office. A lot of students don't know that we give free Microsoft Office to our students, so you can download it for free through this link. Blackboard support, Maxient reporting, campus life counseling, campus safety resources, and then student accident insurance. If you would like this insurance, it's completely free to you, and it protects you if you have any accidents while you're on campus. So that's something that you can review there if you're interested. Diversity and Inclusion is a tab that talks about how to boost diversity and inclusion in the sciences. There are some links to different organizations that will talk about how they are working to boost diversity and inclusion in the field of science. And if you're interested in those organizations or learning more about this topic, then this is here for you to review. If you have any questions at all about the course, you can always email me. You can find my email in the syllabus, in the Instructor Information tab, and also just on the Gateway website if you look up faculty and staff, and you can find me there. So feel free to email me if you have any questions. I hope you have a great semester.